Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. One of my favorite movies is The Matrix. There's a scene in The Matrix where Neo and Morpheus are fighting. And, I mean, they're going at it. They're really going at it. And Neo throws a punch at Morpheus. And Morpheus says to him, "Stop trying to hit me and just hit me." And a lot of times what we do is we get ourselves wrapped up in trying to do something that we know how to do, by the way, and that we know how to do really well, and just doing it. And that was the case with Bam. Bam looked like he was pressing. Bam looked like he was trying too hard. Well, the Miami Heat have a different sort of offense. Their offense is very much like the Golden State Warriors, who I'm going to get to a little bit later, but their offense is very much predicated on action off the basketball. There's very little isolation in their offense. A lot of ball movement, a lot of people movement, and they get a lot of their stuff also in transition, which is generated from their defense. And it kind of hampers Bam a little bit. Simply because it makes Bam look like he can't score, when all Bam is really doing is he's running the offense. So you'll see Bam dribble to the high post. You'll see Bam dribble to the elbow, and he's wide open, and you're thinking, "Bam, shoot the ball." Well, the reason why he's not shooting the ball is because he's running the offense. And that's not a part of what their offense is, which is why I stand on this when I tell you guys that if the Miami Heat get themselves a legit five-man, move Bam to the 4, and feature him more in the offense, how much better he would be. He reminds me so much of Buck Williams. When I watch Bam, that's who I think about. A more athletic version of Buck Williams. So, Bam basically got the green light in Game 3. Now, we're running the offense, and you know that we're running the offense, and I know what you're looking for when we run the offense. But I need you to look more for your shot. I need you to look more for your offense. Well, when you get that green light to do that, I mean, all bets are off. Then I'm able to play more, and I'm able to be more of who I am. And that's what Bam did. You saw Bam how much more effective he was in the mid-range. You saw how much livelier he was on defense, rebounding the basketball, getting out in transition, which is a lot of what Miami does in terms of generating points. Because they don't have one guy who they just go into for buckets. Even though Jimmy Butler is their guy offensively, they don't really have one guy that they constantly go into for buckets. A lot of their stuff is generated shooting the long ball in transition, and Jimmy will get going later. So when I saw how they basically out-toughed Boston, which I was really surprised about, because Boston never really struck me as that kind of team. It never really struck me as the kind of team to get out-toughed. I mean, Boston is a blue-collar town. That's what they do there. And not only did they get out-toughed, the physicality they brought, specifically P.J. Tucker, it looked like it shrunk Jason Tatum. He looked like he started to wither as the game got more physical, which is surprising to me because he doesn't strike me as that kind of player. And when the game got more physical, which was generated by P.J. Tucker, and these guys just fed off of him, when the game got more physical, it kind of took Boston out of what they were doing early. And Miami stuck to what they were doing. Miami stayed shooting the long ball. They stayed getting stuff in transition. Strus is one of the better D&3 guys that I've seen. I mean, he's a gem. He's an absolute gem. And the fact that Pat Riley doesn't get enough praise for finding a guy like him is nuts to me, because he absolutely is a gem. I mean, we're talking about a starter who wasn't drafted. Miami did a good job I thought Miami did a good job of forcing Boston into turning the basketball over, getting them to do what they don't want to do, and that was largely due to them being physical. That was the ball game right there. Them turning over the basketball. We're talking about 23 turnovers, 28 points generated off those turnovers. There's your ball game right there. And a lot of those turnovers came when they were trying to get back into the game. No, we're not going to let you back in the game. This was early on. And, of course, later on, they started to fight back, which I definitely commend Boston for that. And you got to give a lot of guys like Marcus Smart, Al Horford, who gave them a gallant effort with the 20 and 14 that he generated, right? Going 3 for 5 on the long ball. Marcus Smart, being the tough-nosed guy that he was. That ankle injury looked to me like he was done for the night, maybe even for the playoffs. But for him to bounce right back up, I mean, that resonates throughout the rest of the crew. It resonates throughout the rest of the crew, and it gives them energy to go, man, all right, he's ready, so we got to get back in this. And they did get back in it. No doubt about that. Jason Tatum was less than stellar. Like I said, PJ Tucker cannot play you to a tie. He can't. And his game is predicated on him being physical. So you have to come into the game knowing that, all right, this dude is going to try to rough me up. Not only is he going to try to rough me up, he's going to get in my ear. He's going to bump me. He's going to talk to me. He's going to be physical with me. And I got to know that coming into the game. That can't shock me. And it almost felt like it shocked Jason Tatum, where he was thinking, wow, I didn't realize that this guy was going to be this rough. Even though this is his game. And this is what he's been doing. Tatum falls in love a lot with the long ball. I mean, he took 14 shots. 7 of them was long balls. He only took 3 shots in the mid-range, which he missed. From 10 to 15 feet, he only took 3 shots, which he missed. And I've said this to you guys countless times. Once he figures out that in-between stuff, we're gonna have a serious conversation about who the best player in the game is. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe. I'm not thinking possibly. I'm 100% confident that we're going to do that. For Miami to have the floor leader in Kyle Lowry that they had, that was big for them because they need that. This is a guy who he could control the tempo of the game when Boston was getting back into the game, which, man, I expected them to do that. That's where Marcus Smart came in. Keep fighting. Marcus Smart's a guy who's he's not gonna let you off the hook. Even if you got him down, he's going to keep fighting and he's going to get his troops to keep fighting. Well, that's where Kyle Lowry comes in to keep his troops level-headed. They're going to come back. They're going to come roaring back. They're not going to just roll over. And I thought Lowry did a good job in keeping his troops level-headed. Absolutely. Largely, that comeback was largely due to a guy named Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, his inconsistency is what a lot of people look at. But when I look at his game, I look at a guy who's still trying to figure out who he is. Because one minute he could be brilliant. And then the next minute he could disappear. And he didn't do that. He didn't do that on Saturday night. He did not disappear. He was absolutely engaged. Now, when I look at their bench, when I look at Miami's bench, I mean, they got 28 points from their bench. Tyler Hero didn't give them much, which would explain why he didn't play in the fourth quarter. Because that's largely what he's there for. He's there to shoot the basketball, to go 4 for 15. And not only did he go 4 for 15, to be a defensive liability. That's why he didn't play in the fourth quarter. Him and Duncan. I mean, we could play these guys when we're playing zone, but when they're knocking down shots like they were, which helped them get back in the game, Hero and Duncan Robinson have to come off the floor because now they're defensive liabilities. That's where Victor Oladipo comes in, where he was making it difficult on a lot of those guys. You know, we talk about the turnovers. Victor Oladipo had 4 steals. 2 of those 4 steals came in the fourth quarter. A lot of big plays. I mean, Jaylen Brown was fantastic in the fourth quarter. Went 5 for 6, had 14 points. But Victor Oladipo made it difficult on him. Absolutely he did. I expect to see a different effort from this Boston Celtic team tonight. And I think that they tie this series up. I still think that Boston is the better team. They're the more talented team. I think that this series still goes 6 games, and I still think that Boston wins it. And I think it's going to be a longer series than a lot of people think. And since we're on the subject of series being long, I mean, I did not expect the Golden State Warriors to essentially mop the floor with the Dallas Mavericks. I did not. Coming into this series, I looked at those guys and I thought to myself, we could, especially the way Dallas had handled Phoenix in Game 6 and Game 7. There was nothing from that. There was no evidence for me to suggest. There was no evidence to suggest to me that Dallas was going to get served in this series. None whatsoever. And in fact, that's exactly what's been happening. I mean, in 2 of the last 3 games, they've been out-rebounded. Just on the defensive backboard, they've been out-rebounded 69-52. That means that they're not getting a lot of second-chance opportunities. So when you got a team as good as them that shoots the long ball the way that they do, you have to limit their opportunities. And a lot of that, when you're talking about 69 rebounds, 36 of them came yesterday. 36 defensive rebounds. So we're talking about a Golden State Warriors team that's limiting. It's one shot, and that's it. And when you limit a team's opportunities, well, now what you do is you put them in a real bind. And the bind is that not only do they have to get good shots, they got to convert on them because they're probably not going to get a second chance at this. So they've out-rebounded them 69-52. 22 to 11 on the offensive glass. And when I think about the offensive backboard, I think about Andrew Wiggins. And the reason why I think about Andrew Wiggins is because before this series started, my logic on Andrew Wiggins was, you're not going to stop Luka. Right? You're not going to stop Luka. You're not going to be able to completely shut him down. So that's not going to happen. Okay. But what I can do is I can make it difficult on him. Not just defensively. How else can I make it difficult on him? I can make it difficult on him by going after him. Going after him on offense. Don't let him off the hook. Make him guard. And not just make him guard when you have the ball. Make him guard when you don't have the ball. And I thought Andrew Wiggins did a great job of taking advantage of Luka not being able to do that. We're talking about a guy who had 6 offensive rebounds last night in Andrew Wiggins. 6 of them. That's huge for what they were doing. I think Golden State had 22 second chance points, 22-8 on second chance points. That's big for what they were doing. Huge. They didn't get much from their D&3 guys in Dallas. So you got a guy in Reggie Bullock and Finney Smith and in Kleber. These guys are very much like Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen, where those 2 guys, they play off Giannis. Giannis creates and generates a lot of offense for those guys. So if that guy's not going, they're not going. But if that guy's going and he's getting them open shots and he's getting them good looks, the way they get their offense going is they end up converting on that sort of stuff. And if they don't, then they're ineffective. Well, when I look at Kleber, when I look at Finney Smith, when I look at Bullock, 3 for 22 on the long ball last night, including Bullock and Kleber going 0 for 12. Their offense is generated off what Luka does. And Luka got them a lot of open looks. A lot. And they didn't generate on that. They didn't convert on that. I'm sorry. I thought it was brilliant how Steve Kerr came out in the 3-2 zone. Because what the 3-2 zone does is it spreads you out. Not only does it spread you out offensively, we don't have to cover a lot of area defensively. I just got to cover this part of my zone right here. That's it. And add that to the fact that when you guys are shooting long shots the way that you're shooting, we can gang rebound. And when we gang rebound, that cripples your transition defense. Because we gang rebound and we get out and we run. Because you guys are so spread out, you can't get back on defense. And that was another thing that Golden State did a great job at, generating a lot of points in transition. So I think Dinwiddie gave them some good minutes off the bench, but he was really the only bright spot. Those other guys didn't give them much. The Golden State Warriors, they look like a championship caliber team. And I think that window for them is not open long. So I think that they're doing the best that they can to take advantage of this opportunity right now. I mean, between Clay, Wiggins, and Steph, I mean, you got 77 points from those guys. Just those three guys alone. I mean, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. And I think that they're taking advantage of the opportunity that they have right now, because I don't know how much longer this Warriors team is going to be together. I don't know how much longer they're going to be together, and I don't know what the story is going to be in the future. I mean, what are they going to do with Poole? Are they going to re-sign him? Who was absolutely great last night? I mean, I can't say enough about what Poole brings them. I can't say enough about it, and I think he's a starter in this league. But for right now, I mean, what they're doing is working. It's absolutely working. So I'm really interested to see how this Miami Heat team comes out tonight. I'm really interested to see how this Boston team comes out tonight and what kind of fight they have on their home floor. So I'm going to be here, guys. I'll be around for as long as you want me to. So until then, take it light, but take it.